There is a lot to celebrate about what's going on with President Trump. There's a lot to celebrate about the advancements in American healthcare. There's a lot to celebrate on those fronts. There's also a reality. Fact of the matter is, our country is owned far, far too aggressively by big healthcare companies who really aren't healthcare companies. They're health infringement companies. They're health prevention companies. They're many things, but they're not healthcare companies. And this past week, President Trump had a big Oval Office event where he celebrated ending gain-of-function research, except they didn't. It's codified into American law. And this has set up a situation where people on the left are having a lot of success at turning the guy who allegedly unalived, the boss man of United, quote, Healthcare, into a folk hero. And I look at this and think, it looks like UnitedHealthcare wants this guy to be a folk hero because it's so easy to show what UnitedHealthcare is doing, and it's not healthcare. And they're trying, and they're succeeding in some ways in making this alleged unaliver of people, or at least this CEO, into a folk hero. Newsbusters has a story. Luigi the Musical praises UnitedHealthcare CEO's unaliver as a folk hero. So ending the life of a father in cold blood and not only get you rewarded with nearly 1 million fundraised by a fan base of shrieking 20-year-old women, but you also get your own musical. San Francisco's leftist theater types are performing a, quote, comedy that lionizes this guy, and I'm not going to say his name because that's what he wants, who's accused of unaliving that CEO in that attack. And this is the latest effort of them to use art to, of course, encourage more behavior like this. You remember the, quote, art that encouraged the unaliving of President Trump? Remember that? I wonder if that contributed to the 2 attempts to unalive him. So how is it then that I can point to UnitedHealthcare as a non-healthcare company that's making this easy? Because they're following the model that they purchased with Obamacare. And they're being protected, in my judgment, by some of the most unlikely people in the world protecting them, someone who should be going after them. So I'll show you this example. Another doctor, another American surgeon, recorded a phone call with UnitedHealthcare. I'll show you this in a second. And look, she's in the business of caring for the inside of the body. She seems to be a person in pursuit of that, a good and ethical surgeon. We also have a responsibility to care for the outside of the body. I mean, that's not what makes us clean. I mean, we are going to be spiritually clean first, but soap actually makes us physically clean. It cleans the temple. And when you're cleaning your body, don't you want to feel fully clean? If you're using big soap or some of those, there's these fake artisan soap companies. And if you look at the fine print, you'll see they're owned by great big companies. That soap is probably made in China. That may well be made with slave labor, may well be tested upon people against their will. On the other end of that, there's Allen Soaps, which is made in America. It's all natural. It has no chemicals. It's made by a family that's been doing that for 3 generations, and their mission is brilliant. They employ people who are unemployable. Like Allen, who's 14, he's been through 18 operations. He invents fragrances of soap. He works in packaging. He works in quality control. His brother Ian, also impacted by autism, works there. And Amy, who heartbreakingly was neurotypical and got autism at a late age. She works there. So use your money wisely, clean your body, and at the same time have a clean spirit. It's allensoaps.com/Todd. Get 10% off all their products there. It's allensoaps.com/Todd. So this is a surgeon who decided to record herself having a so-called peer-to-peer call with someone who works for United that calls itself UnitedHealthcare.
Hey, it's Dr. Potter. Can you just tell me your name one more time? I'm sorry, you won't give me your name? I don't understand the relationship. I'm just asking for your name so that I know what doctor I'm speaking with. If we're doing a peer-to-peer, I just want to know who you are. So United won't let you give your name out for security reasons. Can you tell me what specialty you are? Did you do breast reconstruction? You did not do breast reconstruction. Okay, is it her plan that's not allowing her to have this, or United? Does she have a plan exclusion? Can you send me that evaluation? Like, can I see their reasoning and thought process when they've reviewed the literature to see what they reviewed. I mean, you understand this is this patient's one chance to have sensation preserved. And I do think that it's very reasonable to do this as a fellowship trained microsurgeon. I think it's very reasonable to dissect out the fourth intercostal nerve and to graft that to the dermatosensory elements on the nipple to try to give her this chance. Yeah, I would just love to see where United has gone through that data. I mean, I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, and I feel like I'm making a medical decision for my patient. It seems like United is making a medical determination about this. And I don't exactly know how that works, right? It seems like they're practicing medicine. I just want to read it like a paper, right? And see what the references are so I can understand. Can you email it to me? You're not allowed to email it to me? It's an internal resource. I mean, there's data from 2023 and 2024 showing that this is effective. Yeah, I really would love to read that and see what United is using as the data to support that. And this is her only chance, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll do an internal appeal. Yeah, and I appreciate your time, and I'm so sorry that y'all aren't allowed to give out your names as a fellow physician. Like, I would love to be able to talk to you like you were a peer, but it's crazy. Yeah. Well, best of luck to you, and I appreciate we will appeal. Thanks. Bye.
So the doctor is very kind and I think filled with grace. And I have no reason to believe that the person on the phone with UnitedHealth is a doctor at all. At all. I'm not going to tell you my specialty. I'm not going to tell you what I know about breast reconstruction surgery. And this is one example of many. They gained this power by getting to a position where the government said, we will force people to purchase products they don't want from companies they don't like at prices most can't afford for services many people don't need. That's how they got this power. That's why you have 18-year-old men paying for end-of-life care insurance. It's why you have 80-year-old men paying for so-called gender-affirming care. It's not going to happen to an 80-year-old man. And most 18-year-old men are never going to need end-of-life care. So they've gained this power over time, and they are abusing this power. They're lording their power over others, which is something Jesus warns us against. And they're doing this as part of a system that is so unbelievably broken. Wired magazine ran this article, and this is about a week ago. And it's a scary article. I mean, it's super scary that RFK Jr. decided to just end this important National Institute of Health program to study gain of function research. Not gain of function, but to study Ebola. You know, to figure out how to cure people who get infected with Ebola. Super important. And he just willy-nilly said, you know what, we're stopping this, and it's just this war on science, except the FBI is investigating that NIAID lab because that NIAID lab has had a laughable series of safety lapses. The latest one was where a jilted lover of an employee there, the lover was a contractor, the employee, her lover, was an employee. She decided to poke holes in his biocontainment suit so he could get Ebola, die painfully, and spread it to us. This is a lab that's been shut down twice. An Army lab shut down twice for refusing to have good safety protocols. And your tax dollars underwrite this. So RFK Jr. did the right thing in pausing this. This is all part of one big system. And that system is so perverse that any doctor can take a phone call like this. You know, I just successfully appealed something with Medishare, and to their credit, they've agreed to pay for a shoulder surgery I had to have. And to their credit, after 1, 2, and then a third appeal, they came and said, oh, I see. Okay, right. Oh, we get it now. But what did that take? It took me over a year. It took me writing some 40-page document. It took me getting statements from my sports medicine doctor. It took me going out and getting statements from my surgeon and his team. I had to go gather all this. Most people that have time to do that, I didn't have time to do it. I just wasn't going to spend the $36,000 they promised to pay for. Now, Medishare is not insurance. They're outside of that system. But UnitedHealthcare, they don't give you these rights. So it seems to me they want this guy to be a folk hero. So who could be blocking all this reform? Because there needs to be reform. Pam Bondi, you know her. She's the Fox News celebrity. She's so good on Fox News. Blonde hair and super, super cameragenic, and the camera loves her. And she's funny and she's aggressive on Fox News. And she was also an attorney for Pfizer during the time that Pfizer was inventing a bunch of stuff that was super, super harmful for society. So she was an attorney there. She has a side hustle. I always forget. Oh, right. She's a side hustle as Attorney General of the United States. Do you think she could be blocking these reforms? Do you think she could be blocking any form of justice here? Well, I mean, Pam Bondi's part of a system that's broken. Speaker Mike Johnson is part of a system that's broken. It's not healthcare related, but it's culture related. It's the culture of D.C. Speaker Johnson was asked, hey, Speaker Johnson, why don't you impeach some of these ridiculous activist judges who are trying to rule the country?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to follow up on your comments about Congressman Issa's bill on judges. So are judicial impeachments off the table for the rest of this Congress?
No, look, impeachments are never off the table if it's merited. But in our system, we've had 15 federal judges impeached in the entire history of the country. I mean, there may be some that I feel merit that, but you got to get the votes for it, right? And it's a very high burden, and frankly, the bar is high crimes and misdemeanors. I mean, the last federal judge that was impeached, I think, was caught taking cash in an envelope. It's like it's got to be a pretty brazen offense.
Okay, so you have Judge Boasberg, who's attempting to enforce an order that the Supreme Court said is invalid. Brazen. You have these judges who have their families making money by secreting illegal immigrants into the country. Brazen. He sounds a lot like the United so-called healthcare guy on the phone. It's nothing I can do, and it's just the system. And Mike, there's the system, and then there is morality, and then there's God watching you and every move you don't make. So you should think about that.